All right, now that you've seen what Elevation Advisor can do for your business and why it's changing the way landscapers think about pricing, time, and profit, this is where we pull back the curtain and show you how it actually works. In this demo, I'm going to walk you through the exact system this software uses to run not only my landscape design and construction company, but others across the industry as well. From pricing and proposals to job tracking to real-time profit management, you're going to see exactly how it all ties together using our PMM model, production minus materials, which flips the traditional markup game right on its head and finally makes the math make sense. You'll also see the Profit Genie, which is like having a built-in profit coach watching every job in real time. And my favorite, the ISPS system, which stands for Integrated Sales Psychology and Strategies. This is what helps you become a better salesperson, sell bigger jobs, and do it without ever being pushy, or honestly, without even having to study sales. By the end of this walkthrough, you're going to see exactly how Elevation takes everything that used to feel complicated and turns it into something simple, visual, and honestly kind of fun. So let's jump in and I'll show you how it all works. Okay, now that we're inside the software, let's build out a proposal together. I've already got one started with all the sections we're going to go through today. Now, before we start entering numbers, I want you to just look at how clean this page is. One of the things I've never liked, and I know most landscapers agree, is spending hours in the office staring at a cluttered screen full of information. That's the last thing you want to do after a long day in the field. So when we designed Elevation, we built it with that in mind. You'll notice every section here, beds, lawn, patios, lighting, irrigation, is neatly collapsed. All you have to do is click the arrow to open it up. And even when it's open, it still feels clean and easy on the eyes. My goal was simple. If you're gonna be in the office, it should be fun. And if it's not fun, it should at least be effortless. That's exactly how we built this. You can also drag and drop these sections in any order you want. I like to organize them in the same order I'll explain the project to my client, almost like telling a story. Whatever order you set here is the same order your client will see in their proposal. That's a part of our ISPS system, because how you present matters just as much as what you present. Now, before we open the bed section, let me explain how this particular project is set up. In this example, we're bidding two separate work areas, one for the patio and one for the backyard landscaping. Now, here's the situation. Let's say a client called and they wanted to rebuild their patio. But during the consultation, we realized they might want a price for the entire backyard. But if you give them one big number, it can blow the budget and kill the deal. So with ISPS, we structure it strategically. Two proposals in one bid. Same estimate, same workflow, separated for clarity and choice. They get a full set of numbers for the patio and another for the backyard. That way they can phase the project or do both. And either way, you're in control of the sale. Now let's open up beds. You'll see we ask for the length, width, and soil depth, and it automatically calculates your square footage. So you've got a built-in calculator right inside the software. If you already know the square footage from a CAD drawing or your own measurements, you just double click on the square footage and you type it in. If not, you can enter each area separately and it'll total it for you. For this example, let's say our beds are 100 feet long, so we'll type in 100, and they're on an average 8 feet wide, with 6 inches of soil depth. Now this is how much soil you'll be importing. Instantly, the software calculates cubic yards and attaches labor hours automatically. Now, here's where it really gets cool. When you build out your product catalog, you can enter exactly how long it takes to install each material. But let's say you don't know how many minutes it takes to put in a yard of soil. What you do know is that it takes about 2 hours for a crew of 2 to install 15 yards of topsoil. So you just double click on the crew hours, type in 2, and Elevation will reverse engineer it for you. It automatically figures out how many minutes it takes to install 1 yard. You can then save that number to your material catalog, and from that day forward, the software will automatically calculate your labor on every future job using that same material. Once you've entered it once, it does the math for you forever. Now, down in the labor summary, it shows that a 2-person crew will take about 2 hours to install 15 yards of soil, or about 0.2 days. All I need to do now is add my equipment. We're going to add a skid steer, and the software already knows how long it's needed. Now, before we close this section out, let's talk about 2 key areas: description of services and crew notes. The description of services box is what your client will see on their proposal. This is your chance to clearly describe what's included. Elevation Advisor actually comes preloaded with a set of generic templates based on the same descriptions I use in my own landscape design and construction company. You can edit them, rename them, delete them, or create your own from scratch, whatever fits your company best. It just gives you a head start so you're not beginning from a blank page. You can also save any new versions you create as templates for consistent professional proposals moving forward. Then there's crew notes. This section is internal. Your client doesn't see it. It's where you can leave important notes or reminders for your foreman or crew leader. These notes show up automatically on your job budgets, keeping your crews on track without extra meetings or phone calls. Once everything looks good, you just collapse the section and you move on to the next one. Now let's open the lawn area with sod. This one's really simple. We're replacing about 80 feet of lawn, so we'll type in 80. And it's going to be about 15 feet wide. We're going to add 3 inches of topsoil. And again, materials, labor, and cubic yards automatically populate instantly. It's going to take 2 guys 3.3 hours or 0.4 days, and it's done. Now we'll add our equipment, which again is going to be a skid steer. We'll hit save. And once this section's filled out, we just collapse it and move to the next section. Now we're not going to sit here and do an entire bid. I've already filled out most of this sections in here, but I do want to show you how paver patios work because it's probably one of the more complex in this proposal. And I want you to see how easy it is. Now in the paver patio section, we've got 2 subsections this time. The first one is going to be 24 feet long and 20 feet wide. Then we ask you how deep your base course is. In this case, it's going to be about 6 inches. Then we ask what your bedding course is, and we're going to put down 1 inch. The second section of the patio is going to be 18 feet long and 16 feet wide. But let's say this section tapers down and it's going to need more buildup. So we're going to bump the base up to 12 inches just for this section. The software handles that automatically. Next, we're going to talk about over excavation, which is how far past the patio your base extends. Some guys put it 2 feet, some 6 inches. We'll split it and we'll put it at 12 inches. Now the average depth of the over excavation is going to be 8 inches because above we have 6 inches in one section, 12 inches in the other, so we'll just average it out. Then we're going to add our edging length. We'll put down 80 feet. And the waste factor is automatically set to 10%, but you can adjust it to whatever you want depending on the paver you're putting in. You can now see that all the materials and labor have been calculated. Our description of services is already filled out. So we just need to add our equipment. This section is now complete and we're going to collapse it down. Now, as I said earlier, I've filled out most of the other sections in the proposal with the exception of just one more. So let's open up the lawn with the hydroseed section. Now I've already added the dimensions so you can see that we have 2,700 square feet of lawn area. But you see, I don't own a hydroseeder, so I subbed this one out. So right below the Add the Equipment button, you're going to click on the Add Subcontractor. Then you're going to find the subcontractor you want to use. In this case, We know the price is by the square foot, so we're going to enter 2,700 square feet. But if you get a flat bid from someone like for electrical, you can enter that amount as well. Now let's go ahead and collapse this section. Now, as I said before, the rest of this proposal has already been filled out. So now I showed you how to build out a proposal. You've seen how simple, clean, and easy it is. I want to take you now under the hood and show you the engine that really runs Elevation Advisor. But first, let's talk about the system every other software uses, something called MORS, or Multiple Overhead Recovery System. MORS asks all the same questions we do. They ask about your overhead, labor, months work versus months off, all of that. But then it asks you for one more thing, your estimated material costs for the next year. It uses that number to determine your markups and overhead recovery. The problem, it's based on a guess. Even if it's not a guess and you're accurate, the system is still broken anyway. And I'm going to show you why. In this example, we have an irrigation system versus a boulder installation. Now, my irrigation materials for a 7 to 9 zone system are around $2,000. And I pay a crew of 2 about $500 a day. Now, we know it's going to take about 3 days to install it in a renovation setting. So that's going to cost about $1,500. If we do a 50% markup on both, it's going to cost the customer $5,250, which gives us a $583 of gross profit per day. Now, over here, I can buy a truckload of boulders for about $3,000. It's going to take that same crew of 2 1 day to install. So our labor is going to be $500. We'll apply the same markup of 50%, which gives us a total sale to the customer of $5,250. But it leaves us with a profit of $1,750 per day. The same price, triple the profit. If you lose the boulders, you don't know if you're even covering your overhead. That's why we built PMM, Production Minus Materials. PMM removes materials from the profit equation. It focuses on your true production rate, how much your crews produce in a day. That's what determines your success, not guesses, not random markups. Your PMM number sits inside a tool we call the Profit Genie. It asks a question no one else can. How much do you want in your account at the end of the year after all your expenses are paid? Now, once you enter that, Elevation reverse engineers everything, exactly what you need to charge per hour, per employee, per day, and per crew. Right now, the target is set at $10,000. Now, it's important to note that the company we're looking at right now has an overhead of $40,000 per month and 6 field employees. They work for 9 months and have 3 months off for the winter. So their PMM number, as you can see down below, is $80 per hour per employee. Now, most landscapers would think that going from $10,000 left over in their bank account to $100,000 would mean they'd have to more than quadruple their prices. But that's simply not the case. Let's take our goal up to $100,000. It moves our PMM from $80 to $88 per hour. $8 more per hour. One user told me, Kelly, I charge that much, but I don't have $100,000 sitting in my account. As we talked through it, we found out he was losing about 2 hours a day to unbilled labor, taking his crew to extended lunches, then running errands and picking up materials before heading back to the job. So we built unbilled labor right into the software. You can enter exactly how much non-productive time your crews have on an average day, and Elevation automatically adjusts your PMM rate to account for it. So let's add 2 unbilled hours and watch how your rate jumps from $88 to $114 an hour. That's the real world math. Now, I want to show you something really scary. Let's go ahead and drop the profit goal down to $1, your break even. With those 2 hours of unbilled time every day, you'd have to charge $102 an hour just to break even. You remember earlier we showed you that charging $88 an hour would leave you with $100,000 in your account at the end of the year? Well, if you're losing just 2 hours a day, that same $88 an hour actually means you're now losing money. That's the hidden killer in this industry. Unbilled labor destroys profit. You need to track it, control it, and minimize it, because the difference between making a living and building wealth is often just those 2 hours a day. Now, let's reset to 1 hour of unbilled, and let's put our goal back up to $100,000. Now, our PMM for a 2-man crew, which is what I run in my company, is $1,556. That's the magical number. If you woke me up at 2 o'clock in the morning and asked me what my PMM was, I could tell you in a pair of seconds. So if you can stay on budget with your overhead, your labor, and the materials you bid, this software is going to make sure that you end the year with money in your account. Now, I want you to remember that money because you're going to see it come back up soon. Now, let's head back to the proposal we were building. You can see it still looks exactly the same. Everything's been saved automatically, just like before. Now, all the sections are complete. We've filled in our measurements, materials, labor, and equipment. It's time to see how all that information ties back to your profit goals. To do that, we're going to open up our markup page. This is where the Profit Genie comes to life. Everything you built out, every material, every crew hour, every piece of equipment now syncs directly with your company's PMM number. This page automatically marks up every section of the job so that you're hitting your daily profit target. The same number we locked in with the Profit Genie earlier. Take a look right here. See this black number that says Profit Genie PMM, $1,556? That's the target daily profit for this company, and the software automatically marks up each section so that you're making that amount every single day per crew on every job. You'll notice the markup rate isn't the same across the board. One of them's a 1.35, the other one's 2.61, another one's 1.93, and even 2.67. This is the beauty of PMM. It understands that not all sections have the same relationship between materials and labor. It adjusts automatically so that every section hits your profit target. No more guessing, no more across-the-board markups. You'll also see a color-coded system that tells you where you stand. Green means you're right on the Profit Genie goal. Yellow means you're still making money, but you're slightly below your target. And red means you're under your overhead. You're technically losing money. It's simple, visual, and immediate. You know exactly where every section stands at a glance. Let's say it's early in the year and you want to get some sales moving. Maybe you're willing to lower your price just a little. You can grab the slider or type in the number. So we're going to bring the markup down from 1.35 to, let's say, 1.3. Instantly, your PMM drops from $1,556 to $1,413. The color changes to yellow, meaning you're still profitable, but below your ideal goal. It's a great way to make small adjustments intentionally instead of throwing out random discounts. If you go too far, let's say we drop it down to 1. Now, you're in the red. Not only are you not making money, it's costing you money just to stay open. And then one click on the refresh icon resets the section back to the Profit Genie goal. That's control, not confusion. Now let's talk about equipment and subcontractors, because this is an area where most contractors either lose money or guess. Now by default, equipment is not marked up. That's because we have you take care of that when you add your equipment into the software. But if you want to add markup here, you can. You can add 20, 10, 30%, whatever fits your business model. Now, if you look down at our Hydroseed section, we added a subcontractor. The software automatically marks subs up to 20%, but you can change that here too to whatever you want. You'll see two numbers side by side. The section subtotal without equipment or subs and the proposal price which includes them. The subtotal there is $1,541.28. And with the subcontractor markup included, the proposal price becomes $1,959.83. All calculated automatically, fully transparent. Now down at the bottom, you'll see your project subtotal here is about $50,433.26. Sales tax is also fully customizable. You can choose exactly what gets taxed: materials, labor, equipment, subcontractors. In my state, Washington, we have to charge tax on everything, and it includes the markup. But just 30 miles away in Idaho, contractors only charge tax on materials, and it excludes markup. Elevation handles both scenarios perfectly. Just check or uncheck the boxes that match your local tax rules, or you can enter a manual tax amount if needed. No spreadsheets, no double entry, just clean, smart, accurate totals that adjust instantly. Now, that's the markup page. It connects everything you've built from takeoff to profit and shows you exactly how each section performs in real time. It's like a financial dashboard for your estimate, and it guarantees you're never selling a job that won't make money. Now, once everything is marked up and taxed, go ahead and click the See Packages icon. Package creation is the heart of the ISPS system, and it sets not only us apart from the entire industry, but it will also set you apart from your competitors. This is where the psychology of sales meets the clarity of software. You should never show up to a client's house with just one number. When you do that, you're backing them into a corner. Psychologically, when clients only have one choice, they usually make none right off the bat. That's why Elevation lets you present multiple options. It's simple, visual, and strategic. The software comes preloaded with 4 packages, but you can add as many as you want with just a click. We're going to add one more to build out 5. Now, package 1 is going to eliminate beds with rock, plants, and low voltage lighting. Package 2 is going to add the plants, but skip the rock, weed fabric, and lighting. Package 3, let's add the weed fabric and rock. And package 4 is going to include everything for the patio area. Package 5 includes the patio area and everything in the backyard landscaping area. This gives the clients options from $18,000 all the way up to $50,000. This is incredibly powerful. Now, they're not deciding if they want you, they're deciding how much. And when they say, okay, we love it, we just need to talk about it, I always ask them one question. Do you know that you're going to use us for something? 90% of the time they say yes. Then I say, perfect. Why don't we go ahead and sign you up for package 1? That gets you on our schedule. You'll have a few months to decide if you want to move up to package 2, 3, 4, or 5. And almost always they will say yes because it makes sense and they know it's important to get on our calendar. Now, here's why that works. Whenever you go out and buy a new truck for your business, most of the time it's way more than you wanted to spend. So you panic a little. You tell your spouse, hey, this was a lot of money. We're not going to go out to lunch. We're not going to go out to dinner for the next year. But 2 weeks later, you're putting new wheels and tires on the truck and you're right back to going out to lunch. That's because you got out of your comfort zone for a minute. And once you adjusted, it felt normal again. Clients go through the exact same thing when they sign up for a landscaping project. They might start small, but once they get comfortable, they almost always decide to do more. That's exactly why package creation works. It's built around how people naturally make decisions. That's why package creation is one of the most powerful tools in Elevation Advisor. It lets your clients buy the way people actually make decisions. You'll see your closing rate and your average job size both go up. Now, here's another tip I use on every single estimate. Even if the client didn't ask for something like lighting, I always include it in at least one of the packages. Most of my clients don't initially ask for low voltage lighting, but they see it listed with a short description and they almost always add it later. About 90% of the time they end up saying, let's just add the lighting, it's too nice not to. That's the power of planting the seed early without ever having to sell it verbally. Now, once you've built your packages, we're going to click the preview button. This shows you exactly what your client will see. It's clean, organized, and professional. Every proposal displays your description of services at the top, then shows what's included and not included in each package, along with the subtotal, sales tax, and total for each. It's crystal clear. There's no confusion, no back and forth on scope. Down at the bottom, you'll see your payment structure. You'll enter your down payment percentage. For me, that's 15%. Then choose how many payments you want to split the job into. In this example, we're going to use 5 payments, including the down payment. The client won't see the full payment breakdown until they actually select a package. Once they pick one, Elevation automatically calculates the down payment and shows the remaining payment schedule. They'll immediately see what's due now, what's due next, and when each stage will be billed. Now let's talk about how to send this to your clients, because this part really matters. Personally, I never recommend emailing proposals before a meeting. Sales, especially for high-end landscaping, is personal. It's about connection and trust. The best way to close is to be there in person, sitting across from the client with your laptop or iPad, walking them through the proposal live. Once you've finished and they're excited, that's when you hit send. That way you're sending it while you're in control of the conversation, not waiting days for them to open an email or get sticker shock. But for those who do want to send proposals remotely, Elevation gives you that flexibility. When you send it, the client receives a clean digital link. They can review every package, pick the one they want, and the software will instantly calculate their own down payment and full payment schedule. Then they just sign electronically and you're both notified immediately. No paperwork, no confusion. It's instant clarity. And that's the beauty of Elevation Advisor's ISPS-driven proposal system. It's not just smarter software, it's psychology-aware software. It's built to help you sell the way people actually buy. When you combine this with the Profit Genie, your markups are real, your numbers make sense, and your clients always feel in control of their choices. That's why we say you don't have to study sales to sell more. You just have to use Elevation Advisor. Once a project has been accepted by your client, it automatically moves into the projects page. Right here, you'll see that no team has been assigned yet, but notice there's already a project folder created for it. Inside that folder lives your proposal PDF. And you'll also find separate folders for documents and photos. The documents folder is perfect for uploading anything like design plans, engineering documents, or permits. The photos folder is great for before and after shots, site notes, or progress photos straight from the field. You can add as many folders and files as you want right here, keeping everything neatly organized in one place. This is really powerful for your crews because they have access to these folders in real time out in the field. No more lost paperwork or missing details. Everything's right here all the time. Now, let's talk about scheduling. To add this project to the calendar, you go to the main projects page. Over here on the right, you'll see 3 dots. Click those and select the schedule project. From there, you can assign a crew, choose your start date, and add it to the calendar. If you need to make adjustments, maybe you need to add extra work days or shift the timeline, you can do that right here instantly. Each crew is color-coded so you can tell at a glance who's doing what and where. Once your job is scheduled and underway, the project budget page is where everything comes together. This page is one of the most practical tools inside Elevation Advisor because it turns your entire estimate into a real-time job management system. Every section you build out automatically pulls into this screen. You'll see your estimated labor and materials for each section. Everything's laid out clearly and it's easy to follow. When it comes to materials, this is where you get total visibility. If your materials come in under budget, you'll see it. If you're about to go over budget, you'll see that too. It gives you full visibility into what's happening on your job while the work is still in progress, not after it's over. That means you can make course corrections mid-project instead of waiting until the end to realize you lost money. It keeps you proactive, not reactive. Now, this next part is one of my favorites. When you open up each section, you'll notice a record button. And this is where Elevation makes material ordering incredibly easy. You can record what material you want to order, who you want to order it from, and the delivery date. Once that's entered, the system automatically generates an order sheet for you. So if you have multiple materials you want to order on a Monday, you can go through the entire project budget and click each item you want, and Elevation will create a single order sheet that lists all of your materials, vendors, and delivery dates ready for you to place the calls. It also keeps track of how much of each material you've already ordered, and if you try to go over budget on a material, Elevation throws up a warning and requires you to confirm OK to proceed. That simple feature helps you catch issues early, stay on top of your material costs, and protect your margins all in real time. The project budget page gives you confidence, organization, and clarity without the spreadsheets, paper notes, or guesswork. It's how you stay on top of your numbers while keeping production moving forward smoothly. Now, let's go back to the projects page, because there's one more powerful feature to cover, which is invoicing the client. When you click Invoice Client, you'll see that Elevation has automatically created an invoice for that project. It shows the original landscape contract the client signed, along with the project days, the number of payments, the down payment amount, and the down payment percentage. All of that information is pulled directly from the proposal, so you're never re-entering data or double-checking numbers. What's really cool about this is how Elevation handles change orders. Every approved change order is automatically added to the invoice the moment the client approves it. And as payments come in, the system tracks them all right here, giving you a clear running record of what's been billed and what's been paid. By the time the project wraps up, your invoice is already complete. It tells a perfect story: what the original contract was, what change orders were approved along the way, what's been paid, and what's left to pay. This is one of the most professional and transparent ways you can ever present a final invoice. It eliminates the back and forth, builds instant trust, and makes closing out jobs effortless. Most clients look at it, see how organized and accurate it is, and pay on the spot. It's invoicing done right, clear, automatic, and built for the way contractors actually work. So that's Elevation Advisor in action. It's clean, it's powerful, and it's built by people who actually live this industry every day. You've now seen what it can do for your business, but the best part happens when you bring your real world numbers, questions, and projects to our live group demo. You can even bring a proposal you're working on. We'll walk through it together, showing you how to price it right, sell it smarter, and manage it profitably from start to finish. Thanks for taking the time to go through this walkthrough. I'll see you live on the group demo where we take everything you just saw and start applying it directly to your business. And remember, you didn't get in this business to bury yourself in spreadsheets and chaos. You got into it to have fun building what you love. And we're going to show you how to make money doing it so you can get your life